Hello lovelies, I am the Fragnostic and welcome to the first episode of The Murder Path, a new monthly series in which I will be taking on the most notoriously difficult games ever made. And with Ghosts and Goblins laying hewn in two earlier this week, a worthy but shattered foe now behind us, how better to begin our journey than with the first entry in one of the most infamously vicious gaming trilogies ever made. The original Ninja Gaiden on NES, released in 1989 by Tecmo. Even into its later blood-soaked hack-and-slash reboot, the Ninja Gaiden franchise commands instant fear and respect for its consistently unforgiving challenge level and ridiculous difficulty curve that starts climbing heavenward and forgets to stop very early on in the games, which, in the NES trilogy at least, got harder and harder as they progressed, peaking with Ninja Gaiden 3, the Ancient Ship of Doom, which is considered to be one of the most ferocious ordeals that a gamer can subject themselves to. Legend has it that the rainforest tribes of the Amazon came up with the bullet ant glove ritual as a kinder substitute for those who could not face tackling the Ninja Gaiden trilogy. But fear not, lovelies, I will rip the pyjama suits from these filthy ninja rats, send them home crying to their ninja mamas, minus their balls. You leave the title screen hanging and we'll get the first of the game's many awesome cinematic cutscenes. Two ninja masters face each other in a peaceful meadow, their battle illuminated only by the cold, pale face of the moon. They charge, each of their eyes locked unblinking to the others, before they spring from the grass, high into the air. And the battle is won in a single blow. Cue our hero, Ryu Hayabusa. Fuck yeah, that's how you set up a game. With the promise of insane ninja on ninja daddy issues action. Even though that doesn't ever really happen, but that's alright. It's all good. After you've suffered enough of Peter Molyneux's empty guarantees, it's much easier to forgive Ninja Gaiden a misleading premise or two. Alright, so here's your Ninja 101. You race through the stage, scaling walls and one-shotting enemies with your sword. Grabbing pickups are either bonus points, health, spirit points, or weapons. And as you see right here, Ninja Gaiden employs a unique climbing mechanic for navigating your way through the levels, often prompting you to leap between walls or objects to ascend and progress. Here comes a great comedy moment. The dog's hot on your heels and POW! Collides with another one as you escape up the wall like the sweetest motherfucker alive. Here you see a weapon that activates as soon as you find it, the fire wheel, which essentially gives you complete invincibility against anything you touch, but it does instantly replace anything you're already holding and leaves you empty until you manage to grab something else. I'll explain the panic-inducing wonder of the weapon system in just a moment, but for now, we're about to storm into a bar in full ninja gear and take on the game's very first boss. This is the Barbarian! It's about as much of a joke as you'd expect. As you can see, his stubby arms can't outreach your own by a country mile, so you can just stand in front of him and slash him stupid until he kills over. Or explodes, for some reason. Good old Nintendo logic. Don't show a corpse, just show their skeleton horrifically detonating inside of them as they are consumed by the flames. Got time for some more fantastic plot now. Oh shit! Just a girl shot us right in the guts. Is this the end of Ryu Hayabusa? You'll have to wait until Act 2 to find out. And here it is. Thank fuck for box sets, eh? Looks like we died and went to prison. What, is it against the law to get shot in this country? So, of course, Ryu trusts Just a Girl, having been easily defeated at close range by a fucking dart gun. What an awesome ninja you really are, Hayabusa. Is that genetic? Is it any wonder your father got one-shotted in the middle of a field? Maybe your revenge quest would be better directed at the dojo that ripped him off with crappy ninja lessons. But now, as promised, more on the weapon system. And you get 4 regular weapons that you can utilize throughout Ninja Gaiden, plus the nifty fire wheel that we just showed off in the first stage. You have the throw-in star, which acts exactly as you'd expect, flying in a straight line and wiping out whatever it touches. The windmill star is the next step up, but this one performs more like a boomerang, whipping back and forth until it smacks into something. There's the flames, which fire at an upward angle in a gang of 3. Perfect for wiping out the aerial threats that will plague you bubonically throughout the later levels. And last, but definitely not least, the jump and slash, which I will explain to you properly once we've got it. All of these weapons run on spirit points, of which you can currently see I have 15 in the status screen above, and depending on how powerful they are, will eat up various amounts of those points whenever you use them. Throwing star uses 3, everything else uses 5, so it's always best, wherever possible, to save them for when you absolutely, positively need them. Make sure you use them by the end of the stage though, as whatever you've got left over will be eaten up for bonus points, and you'll always be reset with a standard 10 at the beginning of the next act. Now, a lot of Ninja Gaiden's difficulty doesn't really come from its combat per se. You got a fairly generous life bar, and the vast majority of your foes drop in one hit. A lot of it comes from its jumping. Like right there, if you don't physically go down that ladder, you'll drop into the traditional video game pit void and die, regardless of how close the ground is on the next screen. Likewise, if you're not absolutely on point with your jumps, you'll end up clinging awkwardly to the edge of a platform or column or whatever with no way to climb back up, so you'll have no choice but to throw yourself to your death, or wait until one of the constantly respawning enemies is nice enough to do it for you. Here we go, second boss, and this charmer's name is Bomberhead. He's just as much of a gigantic pussy as the Barbarian, with the added stipulation that this time you have to duck to avoid his swinging blade or keychain or whatever he's wielding there, but there you go, nothing to worry about so far. Ninja Gaiden doesn't throw you any real headaches until the latter half of the next stage. Act 3! Just like in Ghosts and Goblins, precisely the point where the game stops toying with you and moves in to crush your dreams, your hopes, and anything else you haven't glued down or already drunk away. Ah, pissing hell, he's had me statue, the bastard. He's run right through the house, right in front of me, taken it off the floor and jumped through the roof. My ninja sense must be blocked by some kind of magnetic interference. One more example there of Ryu Hayabusa proving himself to be the most utterly useless ninja in gaming history. I don't know if you guys keep up with Death Battle. It's a series where they match up mostly legendary video game characters to see who would survive a fight, but a while back they had Ryu Hayabusa take on Strider Hiryu, and Ryu got pretty badly curb stomped. A lot of people saw that as a travesty, but if we're going on this game alone, it'd be a travesty if Ryu managed to take down a cheese sandwich without choking to death on it. So here we are, stage 3, and the game started chucking the eagles out at you, which is roughly the point where most players start getting upset with it. You see here that you're forced to cut down innocent hummingbirds for power-ups. Speaking of which, you'll have seen the time freeze pickup we grabbed back on the first screen that is incredibly useful. Not only because of the obvious advantage of the enemies not being able to shoot at you, but more importantly because it will straight up stop large gangs of foes from spawning altogether. If you run through an area with the time freeze active, those enemies are not your fucking problem anymore. Boss time again, and this one is called Basaka. He's another joke, although not quite as funny as the opening 2 acts. You can make life difficult for yourself here if you come in without a shuriken of some description, as his entire pattern is jumping from one end of the screen to the other, knocking out walls of his own throwing stars, but as you can see here, your projectiles can take care of them from the far end and your sword from the other. Just sit tight, keep swinging, and it'll be absolutely no bother to you whatsoever. And don't forget to do your rad ninja celebration. Yippee yahoo way, yee yah! Dignity first. Yep, Ryu managed to get himself sneaked up on again. It's like, why even bother wearing the ninja garb, you know? Why even bother with the mask? Everybody already seems to know who and where he is at any given time. Looks like we've been threatened by the government. I'm about to pull a Bane on them, kill them all and jump out the plane.
The fire rises.
Bum 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 da 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 da. So here we are in the Amazon. I should get one of those jump and slashes in a minute to show you what they're all about. You can see right there what I'm talking about, the respawning. A lot of times you just have to edge a couple of steps one way and the enemies come back. Right, here we are. Here's our jump and slash. Now this technique is amazing and is by far the most useful thing in the game. When you jump at an enemy, it automatically turns you into an invincible ball of flying razors that instantly kills anything that it touches. So while you have it, you got absolutely no worries to be had about any of your foes. You just jump and the game takes care of the rest. Now, the downside to that is that because the jump and slash activates automatically near an enemy, you have absolutely no control over who or what you use it on, which means it will eat your spirit points very, very quickly. A little cinematic view of Jackie O's mountain fortress there. We'll have a right old time climbing up that bastard over the next couple of stages, I promise you. Come on, Ryu. We're on the fucking clock here, son. Get a shake on. So yeah, with the jump and slash, even if you jump at a lantern or whatever's holding the power-ups for that particular stage, the jump and slash will automatically kick in and waste itself, so it's nearly impossible to save it for when you really need it. If you can somehow get it to a boss you're laughing, choose bosses the fuck up. You can waste them in 2 or 3 hits usually, such as its unhinged power, but good luck having enough spirit points to carry it that far, and not end up pissing them away on a bat or something as you're trying to clear a gap. I know at the start of the game I called this the NES original of Ninja Gaiden. I don't want to mislead you, so if you don't already know, the very first version of Ninja Gaiden was an arcade game released the exact same year as this one. Now we all know the arcade versions are usually tougher, so you might be saying to yourself, why are you pussying out on us, fraggers? Why are you ducking the real challenge? But I assure you, I'm really not. Ninja Gaiden Arcade was a much different game to this one. Much, much different. More like one of the 100 or so Double Dragon knockoffs that came out in the 80s, but pretty good one. Just incredibly slow to play. Like, your ninja crawls across the screen like he's still trying to figure out how knees work. And there's a part in the second stage where you got to cross a busy highway and cars are just flying in both fucking directions, and I swear to God, you keep edging out onto the curb and then edging back when a truck comes, and in and out and in. Oh, fuck me. I was waiting for a Boy Scout to come along and help me across so he could get his helping the elderly badge or something. Very important you close those cannons down as quick as you can when they pop on screen, because as you saw back there, it's very tricky to get close to them with the constant barrage of fireballs they're spitting at you. Cannons. I think they are anyway. Hard to tell what some of this is meant to be. I generally don't stick around to stare, just cut it into pieces. I know them by colour and movement nicknames. That's Green Juggle Chucker. See? Maybe it looks kind of like a statue now I really look at it. At a glance it looked like a cobra head on wheels, but no, I kind of see it now. Fourth boss, stepping up the challenge just a tiny bit now. This is Kerberos, and patience is key here. You got 2 demons hopping around the room, but you can only harm one of them. It's easy to know which, as the vulnerable one jumps a lot further than the dummy. So long as you stay on the ground, you won't get hit by the deadly pink bubbles that they spit out, and you have 2 safe zones in the middle of the columns, as the demons will automatically jump over them when they approach. So this really comes down to just waiting for an opening, running out and stabbing it in the arse. Like a true ninja. Most legit ninja battle in the game so far. There we go, easy peasy. Should probably mention right now, for anybody hoping for a no-hit run, that it is literally impossible to no-hit run this game. Well, oh fucking hell, I'll explain it in a second. I love those cutscenes. Have a nice day! Alright, here we are. Act 5. Shit's about to get serious. So, as I was explaining to you before, in Ninja Gaiden, you can either choose to try it for a no-hit run or a no-death run. Can't have both. Any other game, you'd think those two would go hand in hand, but not in Ninja Gaiden. Tecmo spawn themselves a whole new level of sadistic for this one. It'll become much clearer once we actually get to the relevant boss fight, but without giving everything away like a big fucking blabbermouth, there's a mysterious sub-boss that comes right before you fight the penultimate boss, and you have two ways of beating him. If you pick one, you get to advance to the penultimate boss like normal, but you get all your spirit points taken away because the game treats it like the end of a stage, so they just get rounded up and used as bonus points. If you pick the other method of defeating him, then you don't actually get hit, but you immediately drop dead and have to start the stage over from the first screen. But when you reach where that sub-boss should be again, he's not there, and you go on to fight the penultimate boss with all your spirit points intact. Now, the spirit points are important in this for one reason. When you get to the final boss, because if you're playing straight, all three bosses are literally just separated by cutscenes, he has a one-off, one-time attack that you cannot avoid. It will hit you, there is no way around it, absolutely none whatsoever, so goodbye no-hit run. Unless you have spirit points, and either a flame or jump and slash power-up. Either of those, and you'll be able to quickly negate this attack before it hits you, but as I've said, the only way you could possibly have spirit points at all by that stage is to have picked the alternative method for killing the sub-boss, have died because of it, and replayed the whole of stage 6 racking them back up. Now you see all this in practice, and it'll be a hell of a lot clearer when we reach the end of the game, but yeah, that's the meat of it, and it saves me from having to explain it all in between the mad mashing cutscenes that take up most of the finale. Personally, I'm going for a no-death run. Feels more honest. Plus the boss of this stage seems to have randomly unavoidable attacks, which again you'll see when we get there. His name is Mouth, and he is not your friend. Pretty much his only attack is throwing lightning fast, and I really am not exaggerating here in the slightest. Lightning fast looping fireballs at you that have absolute split-second homing ability and can catch you wherever you try to lead them or fake them out to. I was actually so interested in how unavoidable his projectiles were that I loaded Ninja Gaiden up in an emulator, slowed it down to a crawl and went a few rounds with Mouth that way, just to try and figure out how his fireballs behaved, and even with the equivalent of Spidey sense that the tools of the emulator give you, it is practically impossible to dodge some of those fireballs. I've never seen anything like it. In real time, they launch and clear the screen in about a quarter of a second, but in the split second that they leave Mouth's hands to the split second it takes to find you, they will actually adjust their trajectory to hit you. It's actually remarkable. But then Mouth himself isn't deadly. That's his saving grace. You can stand toe to toe with him, swinging your sword, getting hit by his fireballs, and easily kill him before he kills you. You'll only get in trouble if you fanny about trying to dodge and then attack him. Then he'll probably kill you, and you have to start this stage right again from the beginning, from the bottom of the fucking mountain, which is inadvisable if you want to avoid raising your blood pressure to the point where it boils your balls inside their sack. Here he is. Alrighty, here we go. Let's see what we got. Yep, that's a standard one, quite dodgeable. And that isn't. Did you see? A little bit higher, no way over it. Come on then, you big fucker. I don't give a shit about getting hit now. You fucked yourself, lad. You've only fucked yourself. Dick. But yeah, you saw there, two types of fireball. One comes low at you, and the other, whenever he decides to throw it out there, you just can't get away from, whatever you do. Pity. I think that was a no-hitter up until that point, wasn't it? funny how Mouth looks absolutely nothing like the guy that you see your father fighting in the opening cutscene, isn't it? Unless he's been on some seriously illegal growth hormones. Alrighty, Act 6. Here comes the pain. You know, one of the things I really love about this game, one of the little things, is how you always start the level sprinting headlong towards certain death. Hoya! This guy is just the complete opposite of everything ninjas stand for. Every possible code and guideline that ninjas abide by in their sacred ninja scrolls regarding concealment, stealth, and otherwise covert methodology is just being almost spitefully ignored here. Instead, Ryu starts every level running as fast as he possibly can, not even a cautious jog, literally sprinting at the absolute limits of his ability towards an army of bemused mercenaries. Fuck you! Is that a ninja? Who is that guy? Fuck you! What's he doing? It's like he's just charging at us over like a 500-meter distance. Bill Estevez, come and look at this guy. What's he doing? Fuck you! He's not stopping. He's not. Should we shoot him? Seems wrong. He keeps shouting something. I can't make it out. Is it Japanese or something? Fuck you! Oh no, fuck you. That's what he's screaming. Fuck you. You know what? Send out the Eagles. Send them out. They'll turn him away. They'll get shots of him. Here they go. Fuck me! He's cut it in half! Did you see that? Jesus Christ, who cuts an eagle in half? Oh my god, he's right on top of us. Fuck you! How have they even trained eagles to attack me? That's what I want to know. Specifically me, nobody else. I ask myself that every time I play a game where there's hordes of wildlife and fauna working alongside a mob of third-rate mercenaries. They just put their differences and natural instincts aside, united through their hatred of you. They have their own team of animal trainers and hypnotists working behind the scenes, because they're the real threat. For every standard gun-toting video game mook you cut down or punch out or incinerate, every member of that separatist militia, every soldier of that terrorist cell, every base you infiltrate, there's a workforce of caterers, cleaners, and technicians slaving away behind the scenes. You kill them and it all goes to pot, doesn't it? Nobody wants to get into a fight to the death on an empty stomach. Nobody wants to live in a military installation where the bins don't get changed. That's a drain on morale. It's the little things, you see? The little things build up. Poke weight stress levels. They can be the difference between a meltdown and a calm, collected enemy. The gatehouse is under attack. He's come for us. We're all gonna die. I haven't even had any lunch. Calm down, George. There's at least 200 of us in here. We'll be fine. Yeah, I guess shit. This bloody bin hasn't been emptied in a week. I keep telling you about the bin. It's fucking unsanitary. George, relax. It attracts rats, Tom. Rats and other vermin. Told you this 15 times. 15! Kept count. Troops ready? He's at the main door. What's the point? We're all gonna die of the pissing plague now anyway, aren't we? I've got it already. I can feel my throat closing up. I'm all sweaty. There's your raging clue. Fire magic is incredibly useful here, as you can charge straight up to the mind control thingamy-bob on the wall and rag it down before your dad even makes it to you. Ooh, just barely. This is the sub-boss I was talking about. You can choose to fight your dad instead of taking out the orb, but that'll kick you straight back to the beginning of the stage. Here we go. So, now, all of your ninja magic has been taken away from you. If you ignored Ryu's super flashing clue and cut down your father, you'll have had to run the entirety of stage 6 again, but the slim advantage to that is that you'll have reached this boss with all your spirit points intact. Not that you really need them for this guy. I do find it funny that as tricky as Ninja Gaiden is, most of the difficulty comes from the stages. There's really nothing hard about any of the bosses to anybody that's suffered through a few standard NES platformers. All Jakio does here is float from one side of the screen to the other, shooting out these looping pairs of fireballs at you, and maybe the only really troublesome part about this fight is that while his speed remains constant, his projectiles are set to launch in a slightly staggered time pattern, so you can't really concentrate on getting a good rhythm going while you're battling him. This is really more about patience than anything else. Only place you can damage him is the eye on his lower half. At least I hope that's an eye and not, you know what I'm getting at. I'm not gonna say it. Alright, fine, his dick. You happy? Is that what you come to this channel for? Lewd penis references? One more, you big floaty bastard. Fuck you! Alright, now I suggest you get comfy. One more boss fight and about 10 minutes worth of plot to get through before we roll the credits on this bad boy. Final boss, and it's some kind of immobile demonic prawn. It's a piece of piss. So, you gotta chop off its tail and then its head to be able to get at its heart. Now, the only thing it can do to you is shoot geezers of prawn jizz out of its blowhole, so just keep an eye on their trajectory. The vast majority of them will miss you. And you saw right there, that's the hit you can't dodge. That's the bane of your no-hit run. If you have ninja magic, you can jump and slash right through that, but of course we dared to play the game properly. It's just like a final little fuck you from Tecmo. But there's our own fuck you there. Ninja Gaiden is done, Ninja Gaiden is over. Aside from all this plot. And there you have it. Ryu, James Bonding his way out to the credits. Although he's chosen a more respectful arm around the girl rather than straight up fucking her brains out on the mountaintop. You're a class act, Ryu. And also in an NES game, so probably wasn't on the cards anyway, eh? Ninja Gaiden. Top game. One of the first, if not the first, to use extended cinematics to convey the plot of the game to its players, so next time you're sitting through one of Metal Gear Solid's 4-hour cutscenes and you're wondering who to track down and punch in the mouth, here's a very helpful list of names set to some rockin' music to get you started. But what will our next stop be on this most dastardly of paths known as the murder path? What teeth-gnashing, blood-boiling, pube-ripping ordeal could equal this antiquated nightmare? I'll see you Ninja Gaiden and I'll raise you, lovelies, because next month on the murder path, we cross swords with one of the most unreasonably difficult games ever to blight home console history. The brutal, the ferocious, the utterly remorseless Battletoads on NES. What hope could we possibly have? How can we even begin to conquer this pitiless monolith, this monument to hatred that surely is a standard bearer for the very phrase Nintendo hard? Well, I've never beaten it, so I honestly don't know. Sorry. I was really just dragging this out so we could get to the end of the credits. Thank you for playing. See you next, Tecmo. Well, I think the next Tecmo game after this was that weird Captain Tsubasa football game, so nah, we'll leave that, thanks.